proposals, I do want to highlight the SEPTA on demand service that we are proposing in some parts of the region. It's zone-based on demand service. So when we say zone-based, it means the travel is within a specific zone. So you can't travel from somewhere in Upper Bucks County and travel all the way to like 69th Street Transportation Center. That wouldn't work. But there are these designated zones that we've identified where there's internal travel. Sometimes they connect to a SEPTA rail facility or a busy bus location. So they are zonal. You can travel anywhere within the zone. They're point to point, not necessarily door to door. Whether you're bored at a bus stop or at an intersection, and we are working on sort of what that looks like. It's technology enabled, so it's most useful using an app like a smartphone app like Uber or Lyft, which is sort of the inspiration for this. But there is going to be a call center option for people that don't have smartphones or aren't comfortable using them. And it's most successful when implemented in low density areas. So this is not something we would propose in the city. It's not something we would propose in some of our inner ring suburbs. We look at this as something that has specific use cases throughout the region, mostly for sort of further out exurban areas, although there are some locations where we've identified that are a little bit denser, a little bit busier, but we think on-demand service might work very well there. Next slide, please. And just how it works really quickly. You book the trip on your cell phone, through an app, a computer program assigns a trip assigns this trip to a vehicle and schedules the trip. The computer will let the rider know when the vehicle will arrive and confirms the specific pickup location. The rider walks or rolls to a pickup location. The rider gets picked up by a transit vehicle, which is a van or a small bus. In our case, it'll likely be a van. A cutaway. There may be other people on board. It depends on the program. It depends on who's traveling that day. And the rider gets dropped off at a location and the trip is complete. So that's sort of in a nutshell how it works. I'm sure you all may have more specific questions and we'll make sure to have people in the breakout rooms who can help you with that. Next slide, please. And again, I just want to reiterate, it allows us to keep investments in low ridership, higher need suburban areas. It allows us to identify some new transit markets through the creation of community circulators. We don't really have a lot of these now. It can allow for seamless connections between suburban fixed route, regional rail, and micro mobility services, and it's a better use for dispersed land use. A fixed route bus route can only go where it's scheduled to go, but an on-demand vehicle can go anywhere within a zone. So if a new shopping center opens up, you don't have to wait for SEPTA to figure out if we can get a bus in there and schedule it and do all that stuff. The on-demand service can go in there and get you there. And I think that's one of the attractive parts about this service. And it also, that's okay. So I think now we're going to transfer to the breakout rooms. So Bianca, do you want to kind of let us know how we're going to do that?
All right, so I just opened the breakout rooms and everyone should be able to select which room they would like to join. And your facilitators will be in the room with you.
It says in rooms. Oh, I see. There we go. Never mind.
I see the option that says join breakout rooms, but it doesn't give us any information about what they are.
Well, mine, I pushed it and then it said Delaware and Chester and Bucks and Montgomery, and then you have to put down, and then you have to touch the one that you want, and then it says join.
Yeah, so there are two different breakout rooms. So based on the county that you're interested in learning more about, you'll self-select into that county. So you'll see where your name is in the list. under unassigned, and can you see the breakout room list there? And then there's a little bullet next to it, and that's how you'll assign yourself.
Yeah, that's how I did it. Okay.
So is there any way for those of us who called in to the meeting by phone, not using the Zoom app, to select a breakout room? Hello? Hello? Is anyone from SEPTA listening? Hello? Hello?
How many people do you think just left the chat?
Oh, yeah.
Should have clarified that.
Accident a lot of times.
Well, this was our group, so. I think we're gonna have to close the other room. Bianca, can you do that?
Yep, I didn't want to cut them off, but now it's 2 minutes after.
Yeah, give him like another minute or so. Harley's gonna want to try to answer every single question.
Well, people aren't sure how to get back in. I had trouble, so,
Yeah.
you know. May I ask you something? How long is the meeting? How long is the meeting going to be till?
8 more minutes.
Oh, okay, because I want dinner, to be honest with you.
All right. You don't have to stay. You can go eat. I don't want to hold up your meal. No, we're just gonna wrap up now.
So one thing we didn't talk about was the improved access to transit.
Mhm.
In our group, we did have a ton of questions though, and a ton of comments and some really detailed ones. We
Mhm.
didn't get to everything. So apologies to everybody for that. I think some of the things that people were asking us, some very specific things about alignments and
Mhm.
some questions that just took a minute for us to answer. Did you get a lot of questions in your group?
Yeah, we had a lot of questions. We got a lot of questions about the sort of logistical, the logistics of on-demand service, like how it would work, what the fares would be, how it would integrate with other modes, how you would pay. Those were good, but we also had some specific questions about Upper Dublin, a couple of questions about Fort Washington, and whether or not we would consider changes if land use changed, and just some cross county connections in both Montgomery and Bucks. So we were able to get to a lot of questions, but I think mostly because I talk really fast. And but just generally, like, again, we appreciate everyone's thoughtfulness, and please keep the comments coming to our project email. We'll we review everything. Everything gets considered. Even if ultimately we decide not to make an adjustment.
So
yeah,
did you
sorry.
do these with your group, the access to frequent changes?
Yes.
Okay, so our group, we didn't do these, but I think the main point is that the accessibility of frequent transit does increase with the Bus Revolution proposed draft network. It increases for everybody overall, it increases for jobs. And then we also looked at low income individuals, minorities, people with disabilities, and older adults. And weekdays at noon, we saw a positive increase for everybody. All right, so with that, Dan, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Yeah, thank you. And I saw somebody put a nice compliment in the chat about this being the most informative, and I would say thank you. It's supposed to be. We're at a point now where we should be giving you very real information that you can, sink your teeth into and hopefully understand. So I do appreciate that compliment. And we'll keep working at it. But next slide. So what's next? The engagement period is winding down. There's a ton of information on our website. There's maps, there's route description, there's sort of a pick a route thing where you just click on the route number. It'll pull up a little blurb about the change. Thanks, Bethany. And then it'll also provide you a link to a PDF that you can download and print that kind of highlights the specific changes. You gotta go back to the deck though, so I can. Oh, there you go. Yeah. We'll be having a closing transit talk in June. This is typically how we wind up our engagement phases. It'll be mostly about what we heard and kind of the rest of the plan for the year ahead. please provide comment and feedback through early June at least. And the next step, the next time you'll see us will be at hearings. We are kind of working through what those will look like because this is a bit different for us. We've never done a redesign, so we want to make sure our hearings are inclusive and accessible and make sure people can participate. But our plan is to do the hearings in September of this year. So, you know, we do have a few months to kind of turn things around, make some revisions, make sure the math all works out, and then get back to you. Next slide. And then just, you know, year ahead, our plan is through the summer to work on finalizing the network. Going into August, we'll be, you know, posting our hearing materials online, opening the comment period for hearings, and then beginning the hearings in September. And you know, if the hearings go okay and you know, we do well there, the plan would be then to go to the SEPTA board by the end of this calendar year, so likely December, and then begin the implementation phase of the project in 2024. That does not mean on January 1st, 2024, you'll have to deal with a whole bunch of new bus routes. What it means is that in the beginning of the year, we will begin communicating that this new network has been adopted. This is what you can expect to see. This is when you'll see it. We will start scheduling sort of, you know, check-ins on probably a monthly cadence about where we are in the process. If all goes as planned, and you know, it always does. In August, we would start making some service modifications, and then with most of the modifications going in September. The on-demand service is on a slightly different calendar because it involves vehicle procurement and some other things that you know, I think we're working into our timeline, but it is still a bit fuzzy. But as we learn things, as we figure things out, we will let you know. And make sure that you are aware of most importantly, what is happening and when it's happening and how it affects you. And again, you know, thank you all for your time this evening and all the time you spent with us over the last couple of years. We do appreciate it.
All right, and can I just take 1 second to show people a couple things on the website, because I know we have 2 minutes left. And I just actually get involved. Is where we have the Bus Revolution webinars, and you can see here, I know folks are talking about recording this. We do post the slides and the recordings. It just takes us a couple of days to get everything organized. So that will be available hopefully by the end of the week, if not early the following week. And then our events are winding down, but all the information is here. Actually, it's the system maps, slider maps, the remix file, all the pick lines, the things that Dan described. You can share your feedback at any time. And then we also have some project FAQs. So we have an FAQ about on demand. If you didn't get all your questions answered, you can go here and download this FAQ plus some questions that we've been posed by the riders, as well as a summary on the benefits, outcomes, and impacts. And we'll be adding to these this week and in the coming weeks as well. So I think that was all I wanted to say.
Wait, Bethany, a
yeah.
quick plug. Bianca and I will be, we have an outreach event in Delaware County on Thursday. For the Delaware County folks who are on this call, we'll be at the First African Baptist Church of Darby Township, 901 Clifton Ave in Sharon Hill from 6 until 7:30 p.m. So this is one of our in-person events. We'll have lots of posters, and we can discuss routing changes in person. So we would love for you to come. There will be hoagies.
Hoagies and and a chance to get into all those detailed questions that we didn't get to, some of them tonight. So perfect. All right. I think, Dan, we're at time.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. I'll see you around, and you know, keep the comments coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.